And last but not least in our induction list today, certainly the fastest, The Rock. Outstanding left fielder for 6 Major League Baseball teams from 1979 to 2002. Best known for his 13 seasons with Les Expos. One of the best leadoff hitters, base runners in baseball history. He made his debut in 1979. Fan favorite because of his aggressiveness on the base paths. In the strike-interrupted 1981 rookie season, he batted .304 and stole 71 bases, then the second most ever by a rookie. Never forgotten by Expos fans, even as a career took him to the White Sox, to the Yankees, where he won 2 World Series rings, to Oakland, Baltimore, and Florida. Championship again. On October 3rd, the Expos traded Raines to the Baltimore Orioles, permitting him to play a Major League game with his son, Little Rock, Rock Jr. They became the second father and son team to play for the same Major League team, previously accomplished by those Griffey characters. Played his last season in 2002 with the Marlins, one of only 29 players in baseball history to date who have appeared in Major League Baseball games in 4 decades. Do the math. He's only 39. I don't know how he did it. 23-year career, .294 career batting average, .385 on base, .988 fielding percentage, stole at least 70 bases in each of his first full 6 seasons, led National League in stolen bases each season from 1981 to 84, career high of 90 steals in 1983, number 4 on the all-time list. Batted over 305 full seasons, over 320 from 1985 to 1987. You can go on and on about all the numbers. I can tell you one thing, he was fast. All-star in 7 consecutive seasons. Named the most valuable player of the 1987 All-Star Game. In 81, the Sporting News named Raines the National League Rookie of the Year. One of the greatest tributes is when your number is retired. The Montreal Expos retired his number 30. Toronto Blue Jays have hired Tim Raines as a minor league base running and outfield coach this year. I hope these players learn because they're learning from a legend. Ladies and gentlemen, a guy who is going to be inducted here, but also should be, soon we hope, inducted into Cooperstown. You deserve it, Tim Raines. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Canada's Baseball Hall of Fame, The Rock, Tim Raines.
Unlike George, I'm only going to be here a few minutes. He told me it was going to be a short time, but that was about 15, 20 minutes. You said about 5. First of all, I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for this. It's something that as a kid, you don't really think about. You know, when you're a kid, you think about playing. For me, I thought about playing a lot of things. If it was baseball, it was football, it was basketball, it was running track, something that I just enjoyed doing something outside. I want to thank my parents, first of all, for, one, we had a big family. I was a family of 7, 5 boys and 2 girls. I was next to the youngest among the boys. So for those who've had big families, was a part of big families, you know what I mean when you're the youngest, or one of the youngest, and you have like 3 older brothers. Got beat up quite a bit. So you learn how to protect yourself outside the household. Inside, you didn't have a chance. But I like to thank my brothers, my parents. I mean, my mother was the biggest supporter. I mean, my father had to go to work every day, to try to take care of a big family like that was very, very tough, especially back in those days, in the early 50s and 60s. I owe a lot of my career to my mother. My father played baseball, semi-pro baseball, not professionally, but semi-pro baseball. I had two older brothers that play in the minor leagues, Levi Raines and Ned Raines, Ned Jr. To me, as a kid, those guys taught me how to play the game. They never made it to the major leagues. I wish they would have. My father was a great player. Never got an opportunity to play professionally, but I remember when I got drafted by the Expos in '77, I promised my dad I was going to make it to the majors for him. They weren't able to make it today, because of health issues. But I like to thank them with all my heart because, without them, I wouldn't have an opportunity to be here today. George, I thought I was going to be short, but I don't think this is going to happen either. But I remember when I was drafted, my mother always told me, she was actually the one that kept us together as far as baseball was concerned. She was the one that took us to practice. She was the one that went to all the football games. She was the one that took us to all the basketball games. When I was a kid, I used to see guys on television, when their face was on camera, they always said, "Hi, Mom." Now I know what that really means. Because, sure, Dad was the man, but the moms was the backbone of a lot of us athletes. I want to also thank Mr. Jim Fanning over there because he was one of the first guys when I was drafted. Took interest in me. I was drafted in the fifth round in '77. I was the first player, non-pitcher, drafted in that draft. We drafted 4 pitchers ahead of me, and then I was the first player drafted. So to me, I felt like I was the number 1 pick. Take nothing away from pitchers, but I was the number 1 pick. Jim was in the front office at the time, and for those of you who didn't really know that much about my minor league career, I was actually a second baseman. I see George laughing about that right now. I played second in the Dominican Republic too, so you stop laughing. We actually won the championship that year with me at second base. And that was the last time I played second base. I went on from the Dominican Republic playing second base to spring training the next year, '81. I moved to the outfield for the first time in my professional career. That was the beginning, I felt, of the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because I didn't feel like I could have been a decent second baseman, but people don't realize how much, as a leadoff guy, the importance of your offense. And in the big leagues, your defense plays a big role in your participation. So for me, I felt like it would have been a lot harder for me as a total player playing second base and leading off and doing the things that I wanted to do as a leadoff guy. It made a lot better sense for me to be in the outfield where I feel like I can run. Like the one thing that Jim Fanning always said to me, he always say, "Run, Timmy, run." And by the way, he's the only guy I know in professional baseball calls me Timmy. And get away with it. But Jim played a big role in my career. I want to thank him for that. I really want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. Not only Jim, the Expos organization, and most of all, the fans in Montreal. Give yourselves a hand, the fans in Montreal. Without the fans and the support that they gave me, it was something special to me. I mean, being from a small town, a football town, when you play sports in Sanford, football was the game. I mean, when you went to a football game in high school in Sanford, Florida, you would see maybe 15, 16,000 people at a high school football game. When you went to a baseball game, you might have seen 2 or 3 parents, couple of friends, neighbors, that wasn't really at the game. They were looking out the window. But, it was exciting. The game was exciting for me. But just, I felt like as a player, I needed someone cheering. It kind of got me, not so much made me a better player, but I just liked the noise. Like when you play golf, people always say, be quiet. But when I play golf, I want to hear people saying they can say whatever they want. They won't bother. It's not going to bother me when I hit the ball left, 50 yards, left, right, 50 yards. It doesn't matter. So you can say whatever you want to say. But I enjoyed hearing the fans in Montreal in the Big O. And the more they cheered, the more I wanted to do more. It was like I get on base, and they knew it was just a matter of time before I'd probably be at third base. And then a matter of time before I'd be coming across home plate because, Andre Dawson, Gary Carter, Ellis Valentine would drive me in. A lot of people think, I was that guy that wanted to be known as a guy that stole a lot of bases. It wasn't really like that. I stole bases to win games, and that was the thing that I did to help my ball club. I didn't steal bases to get recognition. The stolen base really didn't mean anything but to an individual. But that run scored meant something to the team. For all those guys played with me, I see Steve Rogers here, a really good friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a long time, and it was great to see him yesterday when he came into town. It seems like yesterday. The last time I saw him, it seemed like we were still on the same field. I mean, even though it's been a long time, man. But you know, just to see guys from for me the wonder years. You know, for me, those were the wonder years. Playing in Montreal, playing in the Big O, UP. He was the only, UP was the only person that got more publicity than I did. And that's the truth. There he is right there. That little UP, baby UP. I didn't think I was going to be up here that long, but I guess I'm feeling like George now. When I first got up here, I was a little nervous, but now I'm starting to loosen up a little bit. Montreal, it's still in my heart. It was unbelievable that last game in Montreal. I was at the game. I said a few words after the game. And I still want to apologize to the Montreal fans for not being able to speak French as fluent as you would have liked me to. Just saying, I'm a Florida boy, small town. A lot of those words just don't roll off my tongue the same way. So I apologize for that. But I were able to say a few words like bonjour, comment ça va bien, merci beaucoup. Well, it's about to wear off right now, but I just, a few other people I want to thank. You know, my family wasn't able to come to be at these festivities because, for those who don't know, I have twin daughters that will be 3 in September. The reason why they're not here today is because they got a little ill right before I had to get on a flight here, and they weren't able to come here. They're not feeling real good about not being here today. And I just want to thank my wife, one, who is Canadian. Shannon. My 2 girls, twin girls, Amelie and Ava. I think maybe that might be the first major league players to play in the major leagues. First girls to ever play in the major leagues, seriously. Just kidding. But they are two little things, man, that I wouldn't say keeping me young, but I don't get much sleep when I'm home. But they are adorable. And closing, I think I've been up here long enough. It was a great ride, The one thing that I remember the most about Montreal is my second stint in Montreal. Opening day, 2001. Montreal gave me a standing ovation for like 5 or 6 minutes. The longest ovation I ever got in my career. And they stayed there for a whole at-bat. And there I was, into the crowd, but trying to hit at the same time. It got so loud and so noisy. The pitcher that I forget who was pitching. I'm not sure who was pitching, but it couldn't throw me a strike. I don't know if he thought that they were cheering for him or they were cheering for me. I don't know, but I ended up getting to walk, but I mean that was, to me, that was the biggest thing, the biggest gift the fans could ever give a player is the recognition of all the time and the excitement over the years that I gave them. And I just want to thank all the fans. I know they're not all here today, but I want to thank all the fans in Montreal that I really, really, truly appreciate all the cheers and the support that they gave me in Montreal. And again, thanks everyone for being here today. Very proud of George and the Deuce and all the inductees today. I am very proud to be a part of this year's inductee. Thank you very much.
One of the greatest to ever play the game in Canada, The Rock, Tim Raines.